All right, welcome to Deep Connection. And tonight I am with Lorie Ladd. So, hello, Lorie, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm excited for the conversation.
Oh, me too. And so, before I say more, I went on Instagram 2020. I was on your page and you were talking about consciousness, galactics, you were channeling, and then something else those past few years, and something I also felt. And I was really interested in that shift. Now you talk a lot about Jesus, Christ consciousness. And so before we dive deep into Christ consciousness, can you tell us about yourself? How did you become Lorie Ladd? Who is Lorie Ladd today? What was your background? Was there any religious background?
Yeah, good question. I was uh, I was not born into a religious family. Never went to church. Didn't study. My dad's Jewish. My mom's like Episcopalian, Protestant. No, yeah, Episcopalian, I think. Anyways, I didn't grow up in either of those religious um, systems. My mom was very spiritual, very much in the new age. And so when I was around 12, I started reading a lot of the books that she was reading. I was understanding the Illuminati, the New World Order, galactics, aliens, um, all that stuff. So hello kitty. Yeah, so I was my mom really supported me in exploring uh the spiritual realm, the spiritual concepts, all these things. So I was very aware of what was happening on the planet at a very young age. And also I had this innate knowingness of what was going on without knowing how I knew. I just always had this. It was almost like I came in incarnated with this knowledge. Um, and I didn't start teaching the knowledge that I had around evolution and consciousness and what we're doing here on the planet until 2015. So most of my life, I was in the closet, so to speak. I just lived a normal life and I had all this awareness. I was reading all these books. I knew so much, but it wasn't until 2015 ish when I started to commit to doing this work. And it started with galactic beings. I started channeling. I could just instantaneously channel. I didn't know how, I just could do it like really easily. And so I was trained by this higher dimensional being. This fifth dimensional being came in and trained me on how to channel. So I was being channeled while channeling. So it was an interesting journey. I moved to Mount Shasta and I started to really channel galactic beings. I started, um, uh, but I always had this understanding of what the earth was going through, what humanity was going through. And then I moved back up here to the Bay Area after my year and a half of kind of training on how to channel. And that's when COVID hit. And then I really started to share with people. I was writing a book, The Divine Design, about humanity's evolution. And then COVID hit, and I started to talk about what was actually the actual real powerful shift of consciousness relating to COVID and how COVID was that catalyst for so many. And then my book went out. My book was a channeled book. And right after the book was published, I no longer was connecting with galactics. It just stopped. It was very strange. I didn't choose it. I didn't want it. I didn't ask for it. I didn't say I would like to stop channeling. I'd like to stop connecting. It just was no longer, they were no longer there. And I would sit and it was just no longer available. I was like, because every day I would go up on the ships and I would sit with the galactics. It was very easy. It was very real. It was very normal. And that just was pulled from me. This was in 2023 beginning. And so then I got this curious I got this curiosity around Jesus, like just super random out of the blue one day, 2023. The Galactics were pulled from me. I had no desire to connect with them. I didn't want to anymore. And again, I didn't understand. Now I know why, but so I just decided I wanted to start connecting with Jesus, and I was like curious about I would like to learn from you. Like of all the people that have ever lived on the planet, like I'd like to learn from you. I want to master what you did, and I want to commit my whole life to this. Now I had no idea what this meant for my life, but that was the beginning of what I could only say as a ride that has brought me to a place on this planet that I never imagined being, with my own awareness of who I am, with God, with Jesus, um, with the truth of this spiritual battle, really understanding it, um, really understanding Jesus and this consciousness that we are here to embody, and the power of it, and just how kind of corrupt the whole planet has been, and how we think it's normal, like we literally accept it as normal. And so he really took me on a ride, and he has refined me and refined me and refined me. And it's not a religious path that I've been on at all. It is an evolutionary shift in consciousness and an awareness of his role in this consciousness shift that we're in. Yeah.
While you were talking, so many things came up. And so, because here I am in France, and I feel there is a difference where we are at in France spiritually, the way we look at religion, it's very specific, particular in France, because we separate the state, religion, and some things are illegal. It's your private life, but if you look back, you have that childhood where you know things naturally.
Yeah.
So 2015-ish, you start to feel like called to share. And one question would be about Mount Shasta, because I'm not sure everybody knows what it means, what is behind that. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, great question. Um, so Mount Shasta is in Northern California. It's a big mountain, and um, it's a portal. It holds really high frequency. It's a very high frequency portal. And what that means is that if you go to it, you'll feel really high frequency energy. Your body will feel it. Something happens. It's been known to, it is not to get into too much kind of like really out there. I don't know what your audience is like, but there is an interdimensional city within that mountain, meaning that there is fifth dimensional consciousness beings inside that mountain. Now it's a dimension, so it's not physical in nature the way we think it, like, oh, we're going to go in there and dig through and find a city. It's in a higher frequency, so it's not actually physically in there, except that it's energetically in there. There's a lot of galactic activity that happens in Shasta. A lot of I mean, the amount of galactic ships that I saw when I lived there was mind blowing. So that was in 2015 and 16. No, yeah, 15 and 16, 17. But it's been very distorted as of late, as all portals have been on the planet. It's very distorted. So it's very dangerous, in my opinion. But all of the astral realm has been distorted. It's all very dangerous, in my opinion, to kind of play in. We have to be very, very careful what we're doing in those higher realms right now. But that's what Mount Shasta, that's kind of what it's known for. It's a very high frequency portal for a lot of galactic activity. A lot.
All right. Yeah. Well, to me, it resonates a lot with Lemuria and that
Yes.
civilization. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
the city that's inside there is Telos. That's
Yeah.
the fifth dimensional city, Telos. And I used to do a lot of work in Telos. I used to bring people literally like energetically astral traveling. I would bring people astrally into Telos and they would go and we would be in the city and it was freaking phenomenal. It was awesome what we did back then, what I was capable of doing. I would never do that now just because of the spiritual battle. But yeah, I would take people in, meaning that they would astral project themselves with me through my guidance, and we would go into this city. And oh, the stories I could tell about what we saw and what people experienced, and it was really a beautiful time. But it's a battle right now. I would never do that.
And so let's talk a little bit about that battle. And it's for my audience. Well, I'm just starting at this. So I introduce people that I'm really attracted to and I'm called to talk with. So, and a friend asked me, do you think people are ready to talk about Jesus now in France? And I'm like, I don't really care. And I
Yeah.
think maybe it's time. I don't know. And so, yes, it feels like you had a part of your journey that was about channeling galactics, mission complete. And now you said about that, yeah, spiritual battle. People are starting to see what's happening behind the scenes. So, what do you think was, why did you have to go through that galactic period, that channeling time? What do you see as a benefit, I mean, for today's world?
I don't, it's a great question. There's probably a handful of reasons. One, I think to better understand the spiritual battle, I think that higher dimensional beings and galactic beings are going to play a very big role and not in a positive way to our evolution. And when I say not in a positive way, I don't mean that galactic beings are not positive. I mean that they've been infiltrated. And so that's going to be used in some capacity in the coming years. And I just think I needed to understand it. I think I needed to understand that astral realm. Um, I also think that I needed to learn how to hear Jesus and to be able to trust that channel, to be able to trust that when he came in, so that I could do the work that I'm doing with him now. I would have discernment. I would know what was real and what was false, because it's very difficult to really be able to discern at times what's true and what's false. I think that's part of the spiritual battle, you know. So it's I wrote a book, and it was channeled, and there's a lot of questions I have about this book with Jesus now, and like, there's just a lot that unravels when you walk with Jesus. There's a lot of truth that becomes known that you didn't realize was truth. He unravels a lot of truth that we don't see, and truths that you don't want to see. Truths that you don't want to see. I mean, it's not an easy walk at times when he comes in, because it's not a religious walk, like go to church, say your prayers, and follow the rules. It's a unique journey that you take with him, and based on your mission, your purpose, your reason for being on the planet, God works through you. So Jesus will clean you up, clear you out, show you the demonic energies in you, show you the parasitic thoughts that are not yours. He will love you like no love you've ever felt. Your own divinity gets activated. And you fight against what it is that keeps you in that other world, the world that is distorted and infiltrated. it will, there's pros and cons to that the world that all of us live in. It's the temptations, it's the overeating, it's the consumption of everything, it's the wanting to be seen, it's the needing more money, it's the more relationships, it's the search for stuff out there. It's hard to let that life go, very difficult. But the other life that's waiting is this peaceful, calm, beautiful, aligned, everything's taken care of. You sort of have everything you need, and yet there's not really much that you're not craving for a lot. It's just a very different world, and there's this split that's going to start happening on the planet that we're going to start seeing, and where people are going to start questioning more and more the life they're living. You know?
Mm, when you were talking, so yeah, how did you know, the truth? That's really, I think, something uh, difficult to know today. And like I was saying, so there is that battle. How did you know it was Jesus? Because people who are really not familiar with, for example, channeling and being able to really connect energetically, and that still have that religious vision of Jesus and not as a master of energy. And as I was telling you just before we connected, that spiritual battle and the thoughts, and I almost said my vibration, I feel, and I said there was something stronger. And what I didn't tell you is last night I had a dream with Jesus, and it was the second in a week. And so there was something in me that knew. And but I'm not religious. I was raised a Christian, but I was not a believer. But I came in connection through singing. This is why singing is so strong. I didn't understand, and I could connect through that. This is why now I can feel what you're saying, what you're preaching. And so, yeah, my question: how did you know that was true? That was Jesus?
Well, I want to go back to what you spoke about because I think it's extremely important. If probably the most important thing that people can take from this is what you said, which is that when you start getting curious with Jesus, right? Um, because most of the time, especially if you've grown up in a religious family, you don't know Jesus. You don't ever experience Jesus. You're told who he is, you're told what he wants, you're told what he thinks, you're told what he feels, you're told Jesus, but you don't actually experience him. So most people don't truly know Jesus. Most people in the religious communities now, they're not experiencing Jesus. They are talking about Jesus. It's very, very different. So when you start to bring Jesus in, get curious about Jesus, you will start to acknowledge and understand the spiritual battle. Because what happened to you wasn't just like, oh, I was in a low vibration. No, my friend, that's not what happened. No, 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 no. No. Now you associated those infiltrated thoughts as I'm in a low vibe. That's not what happened. When Jesus starts coming in, the infiltration becomes next level. It tells you no, it tells you you're low vibe, it tells you that's not real, it tells you who do you think you are, it tells you, well, you're going to become a religion, no, people aren't going to listen to you. Like everything under the sun starts to come in. And I want to really emphasize this right now. This is the spiritual battle. It is not you. And it's very real what's happening. It's very real what happened to you. It will continue to happen. And it doesn't happen with any other ascended master, teacher, Muhammad, Allah, you name it. You can talk about Buddha, you can talk about Muhammad, you can talk about all of them, and you won't be infiltrated. You won't have those thoughts. You won't, but you start to talk about Jesus and you get infiltrated. You start seeing the spiritual battle. And so the question becomes why? Why with Jesus? You could go outside and start talking about any other God that people think of as a God or a leader that takes you to God, and nobody cares. They'll just walk right past you. You could say, hey, do you believe in Muhammad, or do you believe in this person, or do you believe in Buddha? And they'll be like, yes or no. But if you start to say, do you believe in Jesus? Forget about it. Why is that? Right? Like starting to really peel apart the power that this man has in our lives will blow people's minds. And I encourage people to begin to get curious about him, not from a boxed in, oh, if I talk about him or bring him in or invite him into my life, it means dot, dot, dot. Like I have to go into this box. Because here's the thing, going back to the question you asked, when you invite him in, just out of curiosity, he won't be infiltrated. You'll feel him. Mm-hmm. Now, when people channel Jesus, it can be infiltrated. But if you just bring him in, you don't want to channel him in. You don't want to open up anything. You don't want to do that's not how Jesus works. You just say, come sit with me. You say, come walk with me. You say, Jesus, I don't know about you, but maybe there's something to this. And, come be in the car with me. You just start to invite him in. You don't have to have any talent or skills. And when he starts to come in, you'll feel it. You'll just know. The only way Jesus is infiltrated is if he is being channeled. Meaning, like, if somebody's opening up their channel and bringing him in, there's a possibility of that being an infiltration because they're dealing with the astral realm. Okay. So if you open up to channel something, anything can come in. So we're not channeling Jesus. We're inviting Jesus to sit with us, and we're having a conversation with Jesus. We're walking with him. I mean, millions of people talk to Jesus every day in church, in religion, and they're not channeling Jesus, right? So they're having a relationship with Jesus. And so it's a relationship. It's an interaction. It's a dialogue. It's a getting to know him.
There is one word you use is you will feel him, his energy, the energy. But people today, they don't want to feel, or this may be a perspective, but we are disconnected from ourselves. I guess Jesus is reconnecting something, and the goal, and I guess this is why he is so targeted, or his energy, because there is something reconnecting us to the divine. And there is something you brought up so many times in your videos, that our connection is not automatic. We think of course we have that awareness of the divine in us, but we have to call it in and reconnect. And so, yeah, what do you think about that disconnection we feel today, or we don't want to feel? So
yeah, I mean, it's something that Jesus taught me that I wasn't aware of, which is, when you go back to the inception of the spiritual battle, which was around 7,000 years ago, maybe, prior to that, the spiritual battle beginning, humans were innately, that means born, with this, what Jesus calls like the God particle or the divine genome within the body, which innately, naturally connects every human to source, creator, God. And source, creator, God is a consciousness. It's a living intelligence. It's not like a light. Oh, it's a light. No, it moves and breathes and holds intelligence. It's alive. And when it comes into the human body, which it's designed to naturally flood into, like a water park, a river of water, and it activates through its own light that divine genome. And when that divine genome is activated, it turns on, it moves. And when it moves, it opens up into the information that's within that genome, just like your DNA. Your DNA holds information, right? And so when DNA opens, it creates the human body, right? So the egg and the sperm hold information, i.e., the entire human body. Okay. So if you don't think that a genome within you can give you godlike ways, think about how an egg and a sperm creates an entire physical vessel that is alive and breathing right now. All right. So, yes, the divine genome is just like the DNA. And what it does, it's designed to elicit information that gives us our godlike ways. It shows us how to be godlike. It's natural. Just like your heart beats naturally, you don't know how it's doing what it's doing, and you don't have to worry about it. You just naturally are breathing, your heart's beating. The divine genome is designed to do that same thing, which is you start to naturally feel God-like ways. All right. As so long as that light is coming down from Creator. Now, prior to the spiritual battle, that's what was happening with humanity. We were slowly beginning to have that genome turn on over hundreds and thousands of years. It takes a while, right? And then we were starting to be godlike. Well, you can't control humanity if they're connected and aligned with God. We are the most powerful that we could possibly be because we know who we are. Okay. You can't manipulate me. You can't control my mind. Like, what? I'm not going to believe those thoughts when I know I'm godlike. Are you kidding me? So, when the battle began, these Nephilim came in and they recognized, as higher dimensional consciousness, sort of hybrid like beings, they recognized what was happening with the human body. And they were like, how are we going to control this population? I know what we can do energetically. They can't disconnect the energetic connection that we have. It's an energetic kind of cord. You can't dismantle that. All right. But you can distort it. You can clog up that light energetically. And while they simultaneously began to clog that cord so the light wouldn't come in at the capacity, they also, which would mean that our God particle, that divine genome, would slow down. We would slowly, start to not really feel godlike. But they also erased the memory of this God particle. So they erased the memory of that humans had of, oh, there's this, just like you have a heart in you. Imagine if they erased the memory of a heart somehow, right? And it wasn't physical, it was energetic. And we're like, I don't know, somehow my heart's beating. Then all of a sudden they erased that and they gave you new memories of what's actually happening, but it had nothing to do with the heart. So you're implanted new memories of like, it's actually a cylinder of something, and this is how you are alive and breathing. Okay, so they take away the truth and they implant completely new truths, beliefs that are not real, but we believe them to be. So what they ended up doing was creating realities through our mind and through our belief systems so that they can control us. And so what happens is that humanity is eventually over time born into a missing piece. They're supposed to be fulfilled, naturally, innately filled with God's light so that they can walk around in the world not needing the external world, but using the external world. Okay. So, oh my God, if I wanted to, I could make money. Fabulous. I don't need it to make me feel a certain way. Oh my God, I could have a relationship. That's so incredible. I don't need it to fulfill me, but it's a great opportunity. If we are not filled with that light, guess what happens? We need these things to fill us. We're searching for God. We're searching for answers. We're searching for love. We're searching to be seen. And we think it's trauma. We think all these things happening to us are because of the trauma that was placed on us. And guess what? We need to heal it.
That was another thing I wanted to talk about all that healing, that trauma, and even transgenerational. I talk a little bit about that because I think it's part of the journey and you debunk it as you go through it. And today we are so lucky because we have people that like you that talk about it, that that's not what you think it is. And so what is the fastest way to shed light on that, or to understand, or to shift that infiltration, about trauma?
I mean, first, it's just understanding the lies we've been told about trauma and healing, like just beginning to open ourselves up to a new way of seeing it, the way Jesus has shown me. And so that would be the first step, which is, well, what did Jesus share with you, Lorie, about trauma? So there are these archonic energies, and we call them parasitic, that came onto the planet at the same time that the spiritual battle started. These archonic energies, they're parasitic energies that move into the mind, and they create thoughts that create emotional states that they feed off of. Okay. And it's a crazy concept to hold, but it's also how this entire reality works. So if a parasitic thought comes in, and feeds off of fear, it's going to create thoughts that are fear based, and you're going to start believing the fears because you have no idea that it's not true. And then you start feeling the fears, and the parasitic energies begin to feed off of them. And what happens over time is that these parasitic thoughts get more deceptive, they get more evil, dark. So now let's say that you are experiencing parasitic thoughts that create a sense of power or control. You want power over something because the thoughts are telling you you do, or control over something. And let's say that that behavior creates some sort of need to overpower someone, hurt them in some capacity, right? You're thinking that it's the person that wants to do it, but it's actually the thoughts that have been in this person. And then what happens is they create some sort of abuse on another person, physical abuse, sexual abuse, some sort of abuse. It's not them, it's the parasitic thoughts. But that gets passed to that little child. And not only does the trauma get passed, but the parasitic energies host into that child. The parasitic thoughts move into that child at the time of that trauma. So go ahead.
Just being aware of it, is it enough? Because I think all that's also part of the trap of the personal development or the healing field or the sector, and it's just not enough. And this is where Jesus and that energy comes in, I think.
Yeah, because if you look at what we do on the planet, we're always healing. It seems a little bit ridiculous. Like, it seems like we're always fixing and we're always healing. And there's always more to fix and there's always more to heal. We're in this loop. And what Jesus is trying to get us to understand is, first of all, if you want to hand things over to him, he will for many people, he will heal these things for us. He will take them from us. What does it matter? It's not yours anyways. But we have this idea that that's disempowering. Like, we should be the one. We have the capacity to heal ourselves. There's that deep program, like, I have everything I need within myself. I am that powerful, sovereign, godlike person. It's like, really? Pretty sure all you do all your life is try to fix and heal, and you go to all these other people. We'll go to this person, we'll go to this person, we'll pay all this money for other people to help us. This is the thing that really gets me. We will go to all these other people to help us, but that's not disempowering at all. But asking Jesus to take something and heal me, that's disempowering. You can't hold both and they both can't be true. Because if it's okay to pay somebody $3,000 for some sort of container where they're going to heal you, but it's disempowering to go to a Jesus for free and ask him to heal you. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. So what Jesus will do is he will heal you. He will walk you out of it. He will show you where it all comes from. He will show you that it's never been you. And so, yeah, the first thing we want to start to become aware of is like, well, what is this trauma? What have I been told about the trauma? What have I been told about it? Has it worked? What I've been told about it, how to heal it. Has it worked? Has the limiting beliefs gone away? Have you felt relief? You know, get curious about how the world tells you to see or to understand trauma and what you have, your issues, your you know, the nonsense they tell us that we need to be concerned about and fix and heal. Because if you start to understand that it's actually not you, it's never been you, it's infiltrated parasitic thought forms that literally feed, and this can be found all over different types of thought. People, it's not just Jesus. This is found in other uh, spiritual teachers or people that have written about this. It's knowledge that's out there if people look for it, but it's these parasitic thoughts come in, feed off of specific emotions and create behaviors in people, and they jump from person to person. So if you have a trauma, whoever gave you that trauma had parasitic thoughts in them, and whoever gave them that trauma had parasitic thoughts in them, whoever gave them that trauma had. And so you're not dealing with the actual trauma, you're dealing with the parasitic thought. So when you're standing here 10 generations in, your family's had sexual abuse and they've just passed that on to you over and over and over. Now you're here with sexual abuse. You probably have limiting beliefs about your body or about relationships or about men or about whatever. And you think it's you, and you think that you have to heal the limiting beliefs and the trauma that was passed to you that created all these behaviors. That's not true. What you need to clear is the parasitic thoughts. And the way you clear this parasitic thoughts is you bring God in.
So, God and Jesus. And so you said it, we have many ascended masters that have talked about those questions, issues. So, what is the specific role of Jesus in this battle? In that, yeah, I guess taking the trauma away, or because it's like the ignition of something in us that connects to God. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Jesus is God incarnate. There is no other master that has walked the planet that has been God incarnate in the way Jesus has. They've had us, they have been like us. They have had an aspect of God in them. But Jesus was God incarnate, which is very different. And that took me a while to accept. This was not easy for me to accept at all. It took me months. But it finally became real and true. And so the reason he is so powerful, the reason that he heals without even being on the planet, he can heal without even being on the planet. No master, you can't bring up a single ascended master that heals like Jesus does. You can't bring up a single ascended master that gets rid of demonic energies the way Jesus does. You can't find a single ascended master that will drop you into divinity in the way that Jesus will. When you start working with Jesus, you understand what the power that he has. He's a reflection of your divinity, truly. He's a reflection of your divinity. He is God incarnate, and he is here to walk you into your God-like ways. He's not here to take you away. He's not here to say, here, you're less than me. You're not as good as me. You need to give everything to me and let me just run your life. He is God incarnate, showing you freedom. He's breaking you out of the prison that this reality has created through the inverted matrix that we're in, based on the infiltrated parasitic thoughts that have been created, the disconnection from the divine genome, the disconnection from God. He comes in and he says, here, let me show you who you are. Let me breathe this God light into you. Let me show you what God actually feels like. Let me show you you. And when this comes in, when this light comes in, when Jesus comes in, when God rains back down, everything that you've been carrying, every trauma, every state of suffering, every limiting belief begins to dissolve. And my friend, it's not because you do the work. It's because God, the power of God's light, is designed to literally disintegrate every infiltrated energy that is not your purity. And that is why when the battle began 7,000 years ago, they had to disconnect us from that light. Not completely, but they had to dissolve that light as much as possible, because that light is so powerful. God's pure light is so powerful that no infiltrated thought can get in, no distorted thought can get in, no demonic energy can get in, nothing can infiltrate a physical body that is literally running God's light through it. Doesn't mean that you're not standing in that spiritual battle, literally battling that stuff all day long, because you will, but you are standing in this powerful awareness now of your divinity. You feel it. And it's very, very, very different than knowing any of it.
I understand. I hear you, and I've experienced this because what you talk about, I try it. And but for people who don't speak our language, can you give us an example, a situation where someone gets infiltrated? What happens in their life, and what can they do?
Yeah. So let's say that you have a strong desire to share about something, teach about something, have a new type of job. You really want to be this artist, or you really want to, within you somewhere that you want to move somewhere else. There's something in you that is innately wanting to be experienced. Okay. We all have that. And it's getting louder and louder, let's say. Even if it is as simple as, deep down, you're not supposed to be in this type of debt. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, this does just, so there's a variety of different experiences in that example, right? Maybe it's, you want this new job where you are fulfilled and excited and joyful, or God, you just want to feel this abundance, right? Where you're not in that lack all the time. Or, man, that like the relationship you're in right now is just not the right relationship, but you're teetering back and forth, but you know what you desire and you want and you deserve. Okay. A couple different examples. First and foremost, I want you to get clear on the thoughts. What are the thoughts telling you? Okay. And I want you to understand that those thoughts are infiltrated parasites. So every thought that you're thinking that you think is normal, that you think is based on a past, which of course it is. It's like, well, no, Lorie, like I've been battling with all these bills for the last 6 months or the year. This makes sense. Okay. I still want you to understand that every single thought that is creating the reality that you believe right now, that you can't go do this, you're always going to be in lack, you can't afford the new place you want to move into. If I try to find that new job, I'm not going to be able to make it. I want you to recognize those thoughts. If I leave this partner, I'm going to be alone forever. What if I don't find anyone that loves me? So there's something in us that's burning to be expressed, wanting to be felt, wanting to move, but there's these thoughts that come in that are infiltration. They're parasitic. And if you can start to see them as that, then you're actually battling what is the root cause of what's stopping you from moving forward. Okay, so we got that far, right? Those are the first two steps. Then what you want to do is you want to understand the power of God. And God can be whatever you want it to be. Okay. It could be a pearly dinosaur. It doesn't matter. But God is this omnipresent, intelligent light. And God, when it comes in to your body and into your life, it dissolves the infiltrated thoughts. Now, we are born in a world that tells us that we have to get rid of the thoughts. We have to fix the thoughts or change the thoughts. For instance, if I'm in a job I don't like and I really want a new job, and I'm having these thoughts that say, you can't, this is what's going to happen. Those thoughts are infiltrated. Those thoughts are parasitic. Those thoughts are not you, and they're not real, and they come from nothing. And that's what you're battling, but you believe them. And the world tells you, you actually need to positive think your way. You need to do these like manifestation techniques. You need to see yourself in that new job, right? Like those are all the things we're taught to do. They will work, but you're just still in the loop because something else will happen. The infiltrated thoughts come in. Now you've got to navigate with some other tool how to move yourself into something else that you want. If you bring God in, if you invite God into your life just by saying, God, come in, the light of God come into my life, the light of God come into my mind. I'm inviting the light of God to clear out the mind. I'm inviting the light of God to move out these thoughts. I'm inviting the light of God to show me the way. I'm inviting the light of God to show me what's next. You invite the light of God to come in and take over. And you give everything to this, meaning that you trust it, you have faith in it. You say, well, what else do I have to lose? I've done everything else. Slowly but surely, you will notice naturally your life will start to change. Something's going to open up. The thoughts will start to quiet. There'll be a calm within you that you've never had. You'll have a faith or a trust that you could make that jump now, and you've never had it before. You see, when you start inviting this light in and you stop trying to do it, and you let God do God's job, which is to clear out the infiltration, to literally to come back in and do what its job is, which is activate this. So when it comes in, it clears out all distortion, it clears out those thoughts. You'll start to believe what I'm saying when you start to have faith and bring it in. This is not taught. We're not taught this. We're not taught this because this is what frees us. And in fact, when you start doing this, you will come up against the infiltration getting louder because this entire planet is in a controlled state. And so when we start to find the answer, we start to come up against what we've really been up against. You see, everything else we can do, we will never come up against what's actually creating all of our suffering. So we can manifest and we can heal this with this modality and we can do this with this modality, and we're never going to see the infiltration because all it does is substitutes one thing for another thing. Okay, so now we're fine with our job, but guess what? I'm not fine in my relationship. So now I got to fix my relationship. You fix that and you're like, okay, now there's something wrong with my body. So now I got to figure out what to do with my body. This is the loop we're in, because we're not recognizing that it's actually the parasitic infiltrated thoughts that create every single one of our problems. And when you start to stop doing all the things the world tells you to do, and you start to bring God in, you start to breathe God in, you start asking Jesus to show you the way, because something's not right here anymore. Show me the way, show me how to do this. God comes in and starts to do it for you, starts to show you. And God activates your own divinity. And when your divinity begins to be activated, naturally, it's the weirdest, I swear to you, it's the weirdest thing that happens. But you are no longer the problem person. Like, I used to always have issues with men. Always. My whole life, I've had problems with men, in relationship with men. Like, I've just had really not healthy relationships with men. 9 months with Jesus really refining me, really coming into my life, God just raining his light into my body. And I've never been healthier when it comes to men. And I didn't do anything.
Let let's talk about this, about men and the women and the distortion, because I also think it's because many people are struggling with relationships and what it is to be a man, what it is to be a woman. What are the, what is the infiltration here? What have you learned with Jesus about that battle between men and women and women?
Well, what exactly do you mean, the battle between men and women?
Because I think today we don't know, we talk about not roles or gender, it's a confusion. And the feminine essence, the masculine, what is the feminine, the masculine? We all have those parts in us, but it's like we tell women you have to be like this because you're feminine energy, and men, which is not true. I think that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, and I think your country deals with this more than a lot of countries. Just intuitively, I have the feeling that there's a collective energy in your country around this, around the whole world, but really in France for sure. That distinction or the blending of that, you know, um, okay, so what does Jesus say? I've never sat and asked detailed questions about gender roles. Um, he's never brought it up. It's never been a conversation that he's had. It's never been important, at least in the beginning teachings that we have written about and talked about. I think that um, confusion is a tool used to control humanity. So if anything that can confuse humanity can control humanity. So creating confusion is a distraction or a way to keep man meaning humans, uh, focused on anything other than God. And I think that if I don't know what Jesus would say around gender roles, but I know that if but I know he would speak to God in all of it. So meaning whatever you're navigating, whatever you're questioning, whatever, like, if am I supposed to be more feminine, am I supposed to be more masculine, like if I'm a masculine man, am I supposed to, instead of us trying to figure it out, what happens when we bring God into the equation? Like, okay, so what happens if I'm struggling with something and I'm like, okay, well, what if I turned my lens to God? What would shift, if anything? What would I feel, if anything? What would I see, if anything? But I think what's most important is that whatever we are navigating, whatever we're being told, this is the right way, this is the wrong way, you should do it like this, you shouldn't do it, whatever that is, where's God? Where's God? Because what we've been programmed into is, as we navigate life, there's so many rules and ways and theories, and I mean, it's ridiculous. You could find every theory under the sun around feminine and masculine roles. None of it matters if you're not aligning with God, meaning your divinity is the most important thing that matters. And when you can align with your divinity, which means that it's your natural state, divinity equals your natural state. And if you can start to try to crave your natural state, your role in masculine or feminine, like that will naturally begin to unravel based on your natural state, not what the world tells you, not what your friends tell you, not what any book tells you or professor or spiritual teacher. Your We want to go back to the purest truth, because we can get caught in all the different, you know, expressions, and it can be very confusing, you know. So it's baby steps, but what I would recommend, no matter what you're going through, no matter how we're supposed to be, where's God? Where's God in the equation? Because that will be the fastest way to bring you back into pure truth for you, not what somebody else says, not what the book says, not what the culture says. And that's authenticity, that's alignment.
That, yeah. When you're authentic, you're aligned, you're connected, you have the answers, I guess, and you can be the full expression of who you are. And
Exactly.
and so today I wanted to talk about authenticity, and there are two topics. The root of that spiritual battle. What are we fighting, and why are humans so important? Because we have that power in us, it seems. We forgot why. And then after, maybe the role of social media, so much information and how we get lost in it. So first, yes, the what are we fighting? You know, dark and light. Okay, but what are we fighting?
Well, we are fighting for our divinity, right? So we are fighting uh, for our God in us. We are fighting for our authenticity. We're fighting for our natural state, and we don't we don't even realize this. We have no idea. We literally think that this is all just a normal thing. We don't even realize that we are fighting for our divinity. We truly don't. Um, so what we're fighting for is going back to our natural state where we live godlike in the human body as a physical character, right? Which would be aligned with God, aligned with Creator, um, walking in complete wholeness, abundance. There's no lack. Doesn't mean you're a billionaire, but you have no feeling of lack. Completely safe. You're not afraid of a single thing. There's no fear. Complete calm in the midst of chaos. A feeling of peace even when there's destruction and stuff that you have to deal with. Compassion, forgiveness, kindness, service to others instead of self. Like, whatever you see in the world, flip it upside down, and that's our natural state.
That's sadly true.
um, so that's what we're fighting for. And why? And when they came in, I don't know why this planet was targeted in this way. I mean, I think it's a very unique experience. Okay, if you think about it, it's very profound to think about what's happening on the planet. That you have a very third dimension is the densest reality you can go into, where you can still have consciousness, awareness. Okay, so it's very low frequency. And imagining God, this massive high frequency in incomprehensible light, being able to experience such density. I mean, the lowest of the low density. And so you have these incredible bodies that are capable of holding God's light and experiencing this density. It's quite an experiment. It's like, wow, that's mind blowing. And so I would imagine maybe these other kind of beings were like, what the heck is this? And, you know, they wanted to control it. I have no idea. But that's what happened. Um, and it's insane. It's literally the craziest thing, because we're like, we don't remember it's happening, and we need God to help us get out of it. But there's all this distortion around God in all the different rule systems, you know. Um, but awareness is key. So if you have awareness, even in just our conversation right now, if people just start to think a little bit differently about their thoughts, like, what if they are parasitic? Because
Yeah.
if you think about what a parasitic thought means, it means that, like, once you believe the thought, you're relieved. There's a relief. You
Yes,
don't
and
want
then
to believe.
just asking the question what you say when they come in, like, is this a godlike thought? Would God say that to you? Or and
Right.
then yeah.
Is this
And
natural?
yeah.
Does this feel natural, or does it feel inorganic? Having all of these limiting beliefs about myself, is that really a natural state? Of course not. And yeah.
And France is a country with a culture um, with many, I would say, many limiting beliefs because here it's better be safe than sorry. You better not do, if you make a mistake, it's bad. So it's better you do nothing compared to the US, America. Try and yeah, you did it. Even if you failed, wow, you did it. Here, we're gonna stay silent. Even I also teach English to French speakers, and they're so afraid of talking because making a
Mm,
mistake is so bad, and they have those thoughts. when so, what can you tell me? Is how do you perceive France, that frequency, and the role France plays in that spiritual battle?
I would say that France has been, the whole world has. Okay, so it's not just France, but I would say that France has been controlled by very dark forces and energies for a very long time. And if they can keep you guys silent, if they can keep you guys in line, then they can keep you in control. And so, again, if you think about collectively in France, that collective belief that you all are going along with, that's a parasitic thought that's been fed to you, and it's reiterated, it's conditioned in you, so you guys literally believe that thought as normal. Like, you're just like, oh, this is just what everyone, this is just who we are. And there is nothing normal about those thoughts. It is literally suffocating you guys. It is literally drowning your truth. It's drowning your uniqueness. It's drowning. They are stuffing you down to such a degree with like a smile on their face, in a way, right? Like, good, you guys are doing so good. Keep shutting up, right? Don't you dare question God or look at Jesus, or no, that is bad. And then you're like, Jesus is bad. Yes, good. That is so, you are right. That's the system that you live in. So we are programmed to follow that because that's the human condition. That is parasitic. The people that run your country are parasitically infested. They are not normal. They are being run demonically. So they're being run by these infiltrated thought forms. And so those thought forms pass it down to you guys. So your job is to start to fight for your truth. Why would I not want to speak French or English if I'm learning English? Like, what is that? Yeah, it seems silly, right? Like, well, I'm nervous. No, no, no. I deserve to share my voice. I deserve to speak this. I deserve no. So you start looking at like, this is a battle. This is not normal. This is like, what else am I not speaking to? What else am I just allowing to go quiet, pretending that it's okay? I spend my whole life just pretending that this is all okay because I don't want to be me. I don't want to express myself. It's like, no, 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 no. What happened? And then take baby steps if that's what you need to do. But start looking at this as an actual freaking battle for your divinity, for your truth, for your authenticity, for being able to be free and speak. And yeah, it's probably not going to be easy in France. God forbid. I feel sorry for you guys because, yeah, you're probably going to have to come up against a lot more than we would in the United States. And it might not be worth it, right? So people might say, you know what, it's not worth it for me to find my divinity. I'm getting too much backlash from my family, from my friends, from my coworkers. but there will be a break and people will start doing this more and more. And then people will feel more confident. It's the wave of evolution. It's the wave of awakening. And so France will have that wave,
Little by
because
little.
it's little by little, people will start to say, they'll start to question, like, wait, what is this really? Because, you have to question the authority. You have to question the systems that have been blanketed and placed on you. And it's very challenging to do that, especially if it's been so ingrained in your thoughts.
The power of authority hierarchy is very strong here, and the teacher always knows better. You're just learning. You're not good enough, learn. You're good learning. Listen to me. Yeah, same as the politicians. They know better. The experts know better. So, yeah.
And that is a very, 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 very deep program. It's designed that way. And yeah, just starting to question that,
Yeah, that's what
more and
Jesus
more.
did. Yeah, question everything.
He questioned all authority. He was like he was against authority, all of it, all of it, because it's not necessary, because he saw what it was. It was to control humanity. In religions, in particularly in religion when he was living. What are you guys doing? Why are you following these Pharisees? Why are you following these rules? What are you doing? This is not God. God doesn't have these rules. God doesn't make you buy an animal and sacrifice it just to be seen by God and loved by God. Like he flipped over all of uh the rules, all of the structured systems. Anything that's telling you what to do and what to be.
Yeah. By the way, I
Yeah.
don't know, just a little question that's coming up. Have you watched the series The Chosen on Netflix or not? What do you think? Is this parasitic thought or the way Jesus is described, his life?
I loved The Chosen. I did. I watched all of the seasons. I really loved it. Um, I felt Jesus come alive, and I felt like, I mean, there were so many moments where I was crying. There's something about it. I mean, if you you either can accept Jesus and listen to him, or you're completely against it. There's no like middle ground. Um, but I loved The Chosen. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I loved it too, and it helped me grow in
Yeah.
my faith. I felt it really. Yeah.
Yeah, it helps you to like feel him in more of a normal way. Like, oh my, like you can feel his essence and his presence, outside of somebody telling you, you know, this is who he is. Yeah, I loved The Chosen. Oh,
Powerful.
powerful, powerful.
And
Yeah.
I can still feel. I would like to talk about now about society, and you said speaking your truth and speaking now on social media. It's not just in your country; it's in the world. So when you started sharing publicly, was there a shift in you? Was it difficult? And what was the difference when you started talking about Jesus? Because there is something when you start talking about Jesus. For example, a few months ago, I wouldn't post about Jesus. There was something, like, and now it's different. So, did you feel
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing, right? You're like, "Wait, what is this?" Like, you could post again. I'm just gonna say, you could post about any other religious figure. Nobody cares. I could post forever about other religious leaders. Nobody, you don't have that same fear.
Mm, absolutely.
It's a fear. What is that? Like, explain that to me. That's the power of him. So yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it was not easy. It was not easy. And it's very easy now, but it's still not 100% easy. I still fight. I still it's a fascinating experience to watch myself go through, because I don't believe there is any name in our history that is more infiltrated, charged, triggering, programmed as Jesus. And then I always just come back to why. And my answer is that he is the freedom out of the suffering. He is the answer. I'm 100% convinced at this point in all of my work with him and writing this book with him that he is the answer out of this prison. And the more that you sit with him, the more you will understand him. And I mean, sit with him outside of anybody else telling you who he is. So I had to shut off everybody that wanted to talk to me about Jesus. I had to shut them out of my life for a while, for the most part. I had to not go to church. I had to learn Jesus. For me personally, I had to learn Jesus on my own in order
Through
for me to,
experience.
through experience, in order for me to truly understand who he is outside of every program. Through experience. That means I sat with him. That means I tried to listen to him. That means I followed what he said. And so the more that I had faith in him, the easier it would be to share about him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. The more that you believe something, the more you're going to share about it.
Because you feel it too, I
Yeah.
guess. And
100%.
yeah. And another aspect of this distraction, because I see you're fasting, but you also fast in terms of social media because there is something behind. And I personally sometimes can feel when I watch content, the energy behind. Is it something everybody can feel or will feel? Yeah, what can you tell me about the energy in the distraction, social media? What is behind that?
I know, it's so scary, really. I mean, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. So, yeah, I mean, when I first started to write this book with Jesus, there's a lot of things that he put me through in the beginning. And one of them was to really understand social media and my role in social media, what the impact that it has, watching certain people. And I'm not even kidding, the demonic energies that are that come into my field from watching people that you would not believe had demonic energies around them and in them, people that are beautiful and nice and sound great and sending all this love and light and stuff. They have demonic energies all around them. So what we don't realize when we start engaging in social media the way that we are is that we are connecting into the energetic world that impacts our thoughts. We don't see it. So all we know is that we're just watching people, and then, we go about the rest of our day, but then the rest of your day can feel weird. It can feel off. You can feel a little insecure, or you're questioning your relationship with your wife all of a sudden, or your husband, or all of a sudden you want to go travel to this other country and you're questioning your own, like all these weird things happen. You'll have a weird dream. Maybe you'll start thinking about your body in a different, like it is a smorgasbord of like infested energies that get to come and go into your field when you're on there. And the way to kind of navigate social media, because it's a great place on one level, because my gosh, what you can learn that we never could learn 5-10 years ago, the people you can meet that we never, like you and I would never have met, right? So it is a beautiful place to be. It is also the most detrimental place that we can be. So you want to be able to be conscious of how you feel when you're on it. You really not who you're watching and what they mean to you, the program around certain people, because there's a lot of people that are now, I don't know how to say this where it will sound not so dark. These most people are not bad. Okay. Most of humanity, they're not bad people. They're not dark. They're not evil. They're not trying to do anything to us. But a majority of the people on social media right now, I won't say the majority, a large percentage of people that on social media have been infiltrated in some capacity and they don't know it. And so even myself, I was infiltrated for years without realizing it. I was still doing great work, but I was infiltrated. What that means is that other energies came in and tried to siphon my energy, tried to get me to think about money over service, followers over service, being liked over authenticity, being seen over authenticity in God. And so what that does is that it opens up a portal for these energies to come in that want to feed off of greed. They want to feed off of pride. They want to feed off of gluttony, right? And so they're working through me as I show up, but I sound great and I'm sharing all this great information, but there's this subtlety that may be felt as well. And I'm not sharing this to create fear around social media. I'm speaking to this because when you have discernment over how you feel, when you watch something, when you have discernment, you have to be so discerning with everything that's happening while you're in that realm, that portal, so that when you step out of the portal, you don't take it with you. So what we typically do is we go in and we absorb it and it's all fun and interesting and oh my God, and whatever your feed is set to, right? I suggest we set our feeds to animals and, nature and fun things, but it won't always be like that. But I want you to imagine that when you turn on social media, that you are opening a door, you're now going into something. So you're literally stepping into a portal. The second you open your phone and you open Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, visualize that you've now walked into something. And once you're in it, you are opening to all different kinds of energies coming in. So you have to recognize I'm now opening to all these people's energies. Now it's my responsibility to not only really choose what I'm watching, but here's the kicker: don't go numb.
The whole society wants to get numb. Yeah.
Because what happens when you go on social media? Freaking an hour later, you're like, it pulls you. That's because it numbs us. You want to know what happens when you get numb?
Tell me. You get
Energies come in.
Yeah, and you don't even realize it.
No, because you're numb.
Yeah.
You're numbed out. So when you can consciously say, okay, I'm now going into social media. I've opened the door. I can't wait to see my favorite animal person, my favorite whatever, right? What's this person doing? What's that person doing? But I have to be aware that I've opened the door. And now it is my responsibility to become acutely aware of being in the door. I am in it. I am not going to numb out. I'm not going to just if I start to scroll, I have to be aware that I'm scrolling, because if I'm not aware that I'm scrolling, I will scroll for 30 minutes. And then what happens is I could get off it. And if I'm not aware that I just exited, I won't be aware of what I took with me. Do I feel good? Do I feel weird? Do I feel happy? Do I feel sad? What am I feeling? And then how can I get rid of what I don't want to feel energetically? I'll go outside. I will put on music, worship music. I will go maybe take a shower. I will meditate. If I feel funky after being on there, I will go and cleanse myself. I will do something that will move it out. because a majority of what we are experiencing right now that we think is us is coming from social media.
And even content about Jesus, I guess, because there's
Even
a lot of
content
it.
about Jesus.
Yeah.
It's not about the content, it's about the person that's hosting the energies. So that you want to feel into, does this person feel, how does this person feel, truly feel? Forget about who they are, forget about what you've been told about them, forget about how many followers they have, forget about what they look like, what they sound like. How do they feel? Pay attention to, do you feel addicted to it? Meaning, like, is there something that pulls you to it and you're not sure why, but you keep being pulled to it? Not because you really want to watch it, but there's another underlying addiction to it. Start becoming aware of that, because that's going to be the next big pull that we're not going to see coming. We're going to start becoming addicted to listening to things, people, because it's entertaining. So there's a grab of entertainment now that's going to become big. And so we'll want to go to the things that are entertaining, and then the entertaining things pull us, and then we get addicted to the entertainment. So it's really like, it's so subtle.
And I guess AI will play a role, because today it's so difficult to tell sometimes, is that real? Is it AI? And it's like it's intertwined. Or
Yes. Oh my gosh. AI is oh, it's so dangerous, because I mean, and also people, I don't know if people know this, but a lot of creators now are reading from little prompters they have on their phone. So a lot of what you're getting isn't even their own information. It's like, they chat GPT it or whatever they use, and then they speak it. So it's like, you're not even, there's a split happening on the planet where it is organic and inorganic. And so more authenticity or less authentic, more AI, more reading from scripts, more seeming like they're robotic. Pay attention. You'll start noticing people, when you normally turn a camera on, okay, and you hit record, you're going to sound like a normal person talking, like you and I. You're going to pause. You're going to say, um, but they started to get us comfortable with robotic behavior a couple of years ago, when people would start to they would stop the screen and then start it again, and stop the screen and start it. You know, those videos that everyone does now, where it doesn't make any sense. There's no point in that, because if you're just going to speak, just say something. Why are we being programmed to stop and then stop and then start? Because what it does is it programs us into perfection. Like, oh, they're just speaking and speaking and speaking and speaking, and there's no fluctuation. There's no pauses. There's no well, there's no normal conversation. So when people do those, like, and there's nothing wrong with doing those videos, everyone does them, but it's a program to get us used to robotic. Because if you watch those videos, which we all do, I've never done it, but I have no problem doing it, but it just doesn't feel natural to me. But it's like, one day there was a dog. The dog did this, then the dog did this, then we did this, and now you're doing, it's like a boom, boom, boom. And so now when people start reading off the prompters, which they're all starting to do, you're not going to question it. Because when you read off a prompter, there's no human way. It's just like it seems perfect. It seems, you know, you don't even realize that it's not an authentic expression. This is just one example. I don't even know why I'm getting into this example, but it's just one example of how we're being pulled from being authentic to the inauthentic, and it makes it harder for us to just do our own videos, because we're like, or whatever we do, because it's like, well, this sounds ridiculous. Like, I do videos now and I'm like, my videos sound like, there's too long of a pause, or, I'm looking out at the window, or, and you don't see a lot of that necessarily.
Well, I just started sharing more, and I want to be authentic, of course. But it's true. Each time I'm like, I really wait to for the energy, and I don't like to pause, but I just want to feel it and share. But it's true the way sometimes I just feel not the good one. It's too long. And it's like taking that human part of us out of it, which is actually so necessary. And this is how you will know that's not AI, sorry, actually.
And have you noticed like more people are starting to just be more authentic? They're just like,
Mhm.
I'm just going to shoot from the hip and just share. I'm going to just, it's like extreme opposites now, right? You have people that are just like, forget it. I'm just going to be me and share. And it's like, yes. And then you have the, the scripted, perfected everything. You want the messy. You want the, I don't know. You,
Yeah,
you want that. You want to be that, because
yeah,
that's what we want. We want that. We're craving it. We're
yeah, I agree.
craving authentic.
Yeah.
It's the path.
So,
It's the path.
yes, to the truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I know there's so much, but I guess about your book, is there something you want to add? I don't know about current themes, disclosure, God, aliens, and to finish about your book, is there something you want to share with us already or
Oh my gosh. Well, when my book comes out, I'll have to come back out on your podcast and talk about it.
yeah, definitely.
I'm really, really excited. I think it's going to change a lot of people's perspective about Jesus. But I think if there's anything to share right now, I would just really encourage people to get curious about Jesus and to get curious about God and this idea that we live in a world that has programmed us to believe that this is all quite normal. And life is beautiful. Life is awesome. I mean, it's just amazing. It's great everything that we have here and we get to be and do and have. Um, but we've been in a really intense, infiltrated state, and from my own experience, beginning to bring this light back into my body and beginning to stand with Jesus all day, like experiencing him in a relationship, my whole life has changed and for the better. And not because I did anything, but because he did. And he continues to. And so, um, the world will continue to pull you farther from your truth and your divinity. And so I encourage you to start fighting for what is right for you, what is true for you, what is your birthright is calm and peace and abundance and love and a great relationship and a job that you find joy in. And these are your natural states. And when we have God in us, when we have God with us, they unravel. They unravel. And for those of you that are like, I don't know about this, well, try it.
That's one of yeah, try it. Because before I heard you speak, but I started trying everything you said, just calling the light of God, the army of God. And yes, I have seen it, I have felt it. So I think, yeah, it's a journey and
It's
I'm
a
on it.
journey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so let's see where it
It's a
leads. And
journey. It's not like a free pass out of all of it. I mean, it is a massive process. But it starts to free you. And for you personally, what I would say to you personally is, Jesus is probably, I'm not even gonna say probably, he wants to use your vessel. He wants to use your voice, and in a unique way. And it will be different than anybody else's. And you will hear those thoughts. You will hear the infiltration. You will hear the doubt, the lack, the don't post that video. Who do you think you are? You will go through the ups and downs and the valleys and the mountaintops. Uh, but he will work through you if you listen and if you follow. He will bring you to a place within your own business, within your own work, within your own service that you could never imagine, you can never imagine. And so it requires a deeper commitment and a deeper surrendering, um, letting the old go, letting the unknown in. Um, because when he works through you, the power of your voice amplifies.
Thank you for sharing that. And while you were talking, I could feel what you were saying. And I guess probably some people will also need to hear that because we are at that time now, I think that those voices must be heard. And thank you so
Yeah.
much for
Yeah, thank you.
joining me. And I look forward to talking to you when your book is out. And
Yes.
yes.
We'll get it out there in France and we'll start passing it around on the streets.
Oh, wow. Okay. Tell me when. Okay. And so when do you think, I know you're still writing. Do you have a date in mind or something? Or,
I hope to have it public. I hope to have it available by March next year, March or April next year, at the latest. And we're going to do a big, huge kind of like global tour. So we'll put France in the equation and get our little booties out there and
all
spread
right.
the word.
Spread the word. Well, on that, thank you so much again.
Yeah.
And I encourage our viewers, well, like we say, subscribe, hit the like button, whatever needs to be pushed on so that everybody can hear our conversation. And yes, talk to you soon then. And thank you, Lorie.
Thank you. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.